Once upon a time, in a small community in western Nigeria, lived two friends, Ophir and Ogechi. The two were very good friends and inseparable. They attended the same primary school, secondary school, and even the same tertiary institution. Ophir studied mass communication, while Ogechi studied biochemistry. They both graduated and went for their youth service. There Ophir met Adamu, the son of a northern billionaire. It was love at first sight. Adamu loved and cared for Ophir like his sister. The two were inseparable, and soon Ophir started spending less time with her best friend Ogechi and started spending more time with Adamu. This made Ogechi very angry. "Oge, I understand you are not happy that I am spending less time with you, but I want you to know that I love you regardless. You are and will always be my best friend. Nothing will ever change that, but I am also trying to build something with Adamu. Who knows, this whole thing could lead to marriage. As the first daughter of my family, you know my mom has started asking me to bring a suitor home after my youth service." Ogechi apologized to Ophir for blowing things out of proportion and promised to be more understanding, as they are both of marriageable age, and should start investing in a committed relationship that should lead to marriage. Ophir was the love of Adamu's life. He practically worshipped the ground she walked on. 6 months into their relationship, Adamu proposed to Ophir, and Ophir accepted his proposal. It was a dream come true for Ophir. She called her friend Ogechi and narrated the news to her. Ogechi screamed in joy, but she was also surprised. She knew Adamu loved Ophir, but she was confident that being a northerner, Adamu would marry someone from the north. She did not expect a billionaire family to accept a lowlife like Ophir. She ended the call and began to think deeply. "Are you sure his family will accept you?" Ogechi asked Ophir. Ophir was still gushing over her engagement ring. She didn't hear Ogechi's question. Ogechi asked again, "Ophir, are you sure Adamu's family will accept you?" "What sort of question is that?" Ophir blotted out. "I didn't mean it that way. I am just concerned about you. I don't want you to get hurt," Ogechi stated. Ophir sighed and said, "I understand where you are coming from. My family and Adamu's family are worlds apart, but I know he loves me, and I am positive that his family will accept me. He has told me about his family, and they seem like really nice people. He is taking me to his family's house next week to officially introduce me to his parents. I am nervous, but I know all will end well." Ogechi also assured Ophir that all will end well. The following day, Adamu came to Ophir's house to pick her so they could go see his parents together. He parked a sleek SUV outside her apartment. As Ophir walked towards the car, he came down to open the door for her. "You look ravishing, my queen," Adamu said to Ophir. Ogechi watched from the window as they drove off. She was burning with envy, but she couldn't express it so as not to offend her friend. For hours later, Ogechi's phone rang. It was Ophir calling. What could she be calling to tell me? I hope it is bad news. I hope the family rejected her, Ogechi said to herself before picking up the call. As soon as she picked, she heard Ophir scream from the other end of the phone in excitement. Adamu's family accepted me with open arms. They insisted that they will sponsor the wedding and even the honeymoon. They said my family will not pay for anything. Guess what? The honeymoon is going to be in Paris. Ogechi's heart sank. She managed to fake a smile and pretended to be happy for Ophir. Soon the call dropped and Ogechi's face turned pale. She stood in front of the mirror and started talking to herself. Ogechi, even the blind can see that you are more beautiful and covier than Ophir. How can she marry before you? Why did the son of a billionaire pick that low life over you, Ogechi? Adamu is supposed to be yours. You saw him first before Ophir saw him. The only thing is that he didn't look rich to me. I would have cautioned him. I am sure Ophir must have secretly had that information about him. That is why she chose to be his friend. Ophir is a snake. Anyway, Adamu belongs to me, and I will not settle for less. 2 months after, wedding preparations were in full motion. Ogechi was very supportive with the wedding preparations. She made sure Adamu's family noticed how much of a good person she was. Ogechi would help Adamu's mom run errands, help Adamu pick up his clothes from the dry cleaners. I never knew your friend was this supportive and hard-working, Adamu said to Ophir as he drove to get some groceries. Ogechi is a very nice person. We have been best of friends since childhood. We do practically everything together, Ophir said. Finally, the day came. The wedding between Ophir and Adamu was happening at the biggest event hall in the city. Ogechi was Ophir's maid of honor. It was a beautiful and grand ceremony. All the dignitaries in the country were in attendance. Everyone was happy for the couple. 3 months after the wedding, Ophir got pregnant. She called her best friend and told her about the news. Ogechi sounded very excited to hear the news. 6 months later, Ophir delivered a bouncing baby boy. The whole family was excited. Adamu made sure that Ophir lacked nothing, both financially and emotionally. 3 years after, it was Adamu and Ophir's 4th marriage anniversary, and they threw a glamorous party. Ogechi was in attendance, and as usual, she was very helpful at the party. This your wife's best friend seems to be a very nice girl. She is always ready to help, and she is selfless. I wish I had an unmarried son. Should have been a good recommendation. Mrs. Amina said to her son Adamu, and they both laughed over it. One fateful day, Ophir got a call that her friend Ogechi had attempted suicide and was at the hospital. Ophir drove to the hospital like a madwoman. What in the world would make her best friend commit suicide? She thought to herself. As soon as Ophir got to the hospital, she requested to see her friend and was showed the room Ogechi was in. Ogechi, why did you do it? Ophir asked in tears. What is so bad about your life that you would resort to taking your life? I have known you since you were a kid, Ogechi, and I know that you can be many things, but being suicidal is not something I ever thought you could be. Ophir continued to scold her friend. Ogechi laid down on the hospital bed, staring into space. Finally, she spoke. Ophir, are you really asking me what is wrong with me? Can't you see my life? I am neither moving forward nor backward. I am just stuck in one place. Since we finished school, I don't even have a man to call my own. Did you know that I have been battling depression for the last 3 months? Of course, you wouldn't know. You have been occupied with your new family, so you no longer have a place for me in your head. Ophir felt guilty. She knew she hadn't really been there for Ogechi since she got married. Marriage life and its accompanying responsibilities were taking a toll on her friendship with Ogechi. She apologized to Ogechi for abandoning her all these months and promised to do better and be there for her as a best friend. 2 days after Ogechi was discharged from the hospital, Ophir stayed awake at night, pondering over a lot of things. My love, why aren't you asleep? What is bothering you? Adamu asked Ophir. Ophir explained to her husband that she was worried sick about her friend Ogechi and her mental health. She feared that Ogechi might slip into depression again and end up taking her life. She didn't want to lose her friend. Adamu consoled his wife and assured her that all will be well. He promised her that they will always check up on Ogechi regularly to ensure that all is well. Babe, can I ask you a favor? Ophir asked. Sure. You can ask me anything. Adamu replied, Please, can I bring my friend Ogechi to live with us for a while? I will be more at peace if I can see her face to face daily. At least, I will know when something is wrong. That is not possible. Adamu cut Ophir short. Your friend cannot live with us. I have heard stories like this, and it never ends well. Ophir, I know without a doubt that you love your friend and you have her best interests at heart, but don't you think that bringing your friend to come live with us is a bit too extreme? Ophir begged Adamu to be more understanding, but Adamu wasn't having it. He stormed out of their bedroom in anger and went to sleep in the living room. 3 days later, Ophir started giving Adamu an attitude. She would sit by herself all day without talking to her husband. "My love, how long are you going to keep ignoring me?" "Okay, there is no problem. I will allow your friend to come live with us, but only for a short while. I just want you to be happy." Ophir's eyes lit up in excitement. She thanked Adamu for his kind consideration. Then she proceeded to invite Ogechi to come live with them. Ogechi moved into her friend's home 2 days later, and she was given the guest room to stay for the time being. Ogechi coordinated herself well in the house, and soon Adamu began to enjoy her company. Sometimes when Adamu walked from home and Ophir was not around, Ogechi would serve Adamu a cold glass of juice or even make him lunch. 3 months after Ogechi moved into Adamu's home, Ophir started falling sick consistently. It was from one sickness to another. Ophir began to grow lean. Even the doctors could not diagnose what really was wrong with Ophir. Adamu kept on spending money on treatment, but there was no improvement. One day, Ogechi felt that she had stayed long enough in her friend's home, and it was time to leave. But Adamu begged her to please continue staying, as she is the only one he trusts to be able to take care of Ophir in his absence. Ophir agreed to stay back. Prince was a very intelligent 5-year-old. One day, Prince asked Ogechi, "Why did my mom start falling sick after you came to live with us?" Ogechi dismissed the little boy and went about her business in the house. After 6 months of illness without cure, Ophir finally gave up the fight. It was a devastating period for Adamu. He had just lost the love of his life and was left with a little boy to take care of. Adamu's world came crumbling in front of him. Ogechi was devastated, but somehow found the strength to console Adamu. She would serve Adamu food and encourage him to eat. She would bathe and feed Prince. She took care of Prince like her own son. 3 weeks after the burial, Ogechi thought it was finally time to leave as her friend is no more. "Adamu, I think the time has come for me to finally take my leave. My best friend Ophir is no more, so I have no business being in this house." Adamu begged her to stay back for the sake of Prince. He can't trust a nanny to take care of his child, especially now that he is still very young. Ogechi refused to stay. Adamu had to call his mom to intervene. "My daughter, you were like a sister to your late friend, and I can understand how painful it is, but for the sake of the child she had left behind, please stay a little more while until things stabilizes a bit. I am not in the country. I would have asked that he be brought to my place," Mrs. Amina said to Ogechi. Ogechi finally agreed to stay back. Adamu felt so much relief. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, and Ogechi continued to live in that house. Somehow, Adamu began to have a likeness for Ogechi. She was just too perfect. She knew the right things to say or do in any given circumstance. One fateful night, while Adamu was asleep, he heard a knock on the door of his bedroom. "Who is that?" Adamu asked. "It is me." Ogechi responded. Adamu was worried. What is Ogechi doing at his door at this time of the night? Adamu opened the door, and there Ogechi was standing in a very provocative nightwear. Ogechi claimed she was having nightmares. Adamu invited her into the room. One thing led to another, and Adamu and Ogechi made love. It was an act Adamu immediately regretted. He thought about the kind of man Ophir would think he is. Sleeping with Ophir's best friend was something he never thought he could stoop so low to do. Ogechi tried to console him, making him understand that what happened between them was completely normal. Soon, Ogechi moved from the guest room to the master's bedroom, and she and Adamu started a full-blown affair. She became the madam of the house. Adamu made their affair official and informed his parents that he was going to marry Ogechi. Even though the society would frown at his actions, his parents believed that Ogechi was the best fit for him, as they had known her for a very long time, and she is also the best person to take good care of Prince. Mrs. Amina was of the opinion that Ophir would have wanted the same thing. Wedding preparations started, although the family agreed that because of the circumstances of their relationship, the wedding ceremony would not be so glamorous. Adam would travel for a business trip and was to be back in a month to officially kickstart the wedding preparations, leaving Prince and Ogechi at home. One fateful morning, Ogechi stormed Prince's room and called out his name. To wake up, Prince was still fast asleep, which made Ogechi very angry. She went close to him and dragged him from the bed to the floor. Prince woke up crying, and Ogechi gave him a dirty slap. "Will you keep quiet? You cursed child! Do you think that I will pamper you the way your miserable mother pampered you? Now get up and go do the dishes before I lose my temper, you good-for-nothing. You think you're a prince in this house? I am the queen of this house, so I give the orders here." Prince has never washed plates in his life. He went into the kitchen, saw the huge pile of plates, and he was confused as to what to do. He decided to start washing the plates when he realized that his father is not around to save him. After washing the plates to the best of his ability, he went to meet Ogechi to tell her that he is hungry. Ogechi stared at him for a while, then told him that he will not eat until it is 3 p.m. as there is no food in the house, so they have to manage what is available till his father comes back. Prince broke down in tears. He missed his mother so much. Prince had to go back to his room on an empty stomach while he waited till 3 p.m. Once it was 2 p.m., Ogechi screamed Prince's name, and he ran out of the room in shock. "Why did you not mop the kitchen floor when you were done washing the plates?" Prince looked confused. He didn't even know he was supposed to mop the kitchen floor when he was done doing the dishes. Prince begged Ogechi to give him some food, as it was almost 3 p.m. He promised to mop the kitchen floor later on. Ogechi laughed hysterically. "You must be delusional. Every action has its own consequences, little one. Didn't your mother teach you that? I guess not. You have disobeyed my instructions by leaving the kitchen floor dirty, and as a result of your disobedience, you will not eat till 9 p.m. Now go and mop the floor before I change my mind." Prince carried his tired and hungry body across the kitchen, got the mop bucket, and started cleaning. When he was done, he went back to his room, sat down on the floor, and wept bitterly. He thought about how his life will be when his dad finally marries Annie Ogechi. When it was 7 p.m., Ogechi called Prince and gave him 2 slices of bread and water. Prince looked at Ogechi and said, "Annie Ogechi, please, I want real food. I haven't eaten all day. What do you think is in your hand? Stone? See, if you are not going to eat, give it back to me. Let me give it to the dogs." Prince had no option. He took the 2 slices of bread and went back to his room and ate it as his dinner and only meal for the day. "My love, I have missed you so much," Ogechi said to Adamu over the phone. Adamu informed Ogechi that he will be back from his business trip in a week's time, which was much earlier than he had planned. This made Ogechi very worried. Prince had grown really lean and sickly because of the starvation and maltreatment Ogechi has been missing out on him. She needed to do something urgently. If Adamu comes back and sees his son in this state, he may decide not to marry her again. "Prince, my boy, come and eat," Ogechi said to Prince the next morning as she served him a big bowl of hot Jell-O fries and turkey. Prince was surprised and scared at the same time. He didn't know whether Ogechi wanted to finally finish him off before his father comes back home. So he told Ogechi he wasn't hungry. This made Ogechi very angry, but she managed to hide her emotions and faked a smile. She apologized to Prince and begged him to eat, but Prince wouldn't budge. Ogechi let the child be and drove out of the house. "Hello, pharmacist. My 6-year-old son has a very poor appetite. I need something that will make him eat," Ogechi said to the pharmacist. "Not a problem, Ma. We have something for your son to boost his appetite. Give him 1 tablespoon 2 times daily." The pharmacist said to Ogechi and handed her a syrup. Ogechi thanked him and left. On getting home, Ogechi emptied half a bottle of the syrup into Prince's favorite juice he had kept in the fridge. She also left a plate of rice she had earlier offered him on the table as well. Prince went to the fridge about a few hours later to drink his favorite juice, unknown to him that the juice had been tampered with. 30 minutes later, the little boy began to feel hunger pangs. He couldn't hold it anymore. He ran to the dining table and devoured the rice Ogechi had given him. Prince kept on eating like a glutton for 1 week, and Ogechi kept feeding him. Adamu came back 1 week later, and he couldn't recognize his son. "What have you been feeding my boy?" Adamu asked Ogechi with excitement in his voice. He believed that Ogechi was showing Prince too much love. He felt so much peace in his heart, knowing that he made the right decision to marry Ogechi, at least for the sake of his son. The little boy finally understood the game Ogechi was playing. How can he tell his father that Ogechi had been maltreating him with his new body weight? Nobody would believe him. Prince knew that if his father ends up marrying Ogechi, he'll be making the biggest mistake of his life. "Daddy, please buy me a tab. All my friends in school have one," Prince said to his father as he prepared for work. "I'll tell Annie Ogechi to get one for you." Adamu responded. Prince burst into tears and immediately said he wanted to see his mother offering. Adamu was broken inside. He hated to see his son like that. He then promised to buy him the tab on his way back from work if he stopped crying. 3 weeks to the wedding, Adamu had to quickly travel for a few days for a business transaction. As soon as he left the house, Ogechi resumed Prince's maltreatment. She forced him to wash the floor, wash his clothes, and only gave him 2 slices of bread. One evening, Prince walked up to Ogechi while she was in the living room and stood in front of her. "Annie Ogechi, why are you so wicked to me?" the little boy asked. Before Prince could finish his statement, Ogechi gave him a dirty slap. "You good-for-nothing son of a harlot. How dare you stand in front of me and question me? Are you crazy? Is it because I spared your life? I could have sent you two to the great beyond just like your mother. Have you ever wondered how your miserable mother died? I will tell you. Listen attentively, because after what I'm about to tell you, you will begin to fear me. I was slowly poisoning your mother for months with a type of poison that cannot be traced in the body. I was responsible for her unending illness. She took what belonged to me. I am the one that is supposed to be married to Adamu, not her, and had to take what rightfully belongs to me. I moved into this house with a goal, and my goal was never to leave. My goal was to take charge of this house, and I got what I wanted. So if you dare stand in my way, I will crush your bones and feed it to the dogs." Prince stood there in shock. He couldn't move his legs. He almost collapsed after the revelation he just heard. But it had to be strong. It had to be strong for his late mother. When his father came back from his trip, he didn't tell his father about the new information he had learned. Ogechi knew he wouldn't dare, not after knowing what she is capable of. It was finally 2 days to the wedding, and everyone was in high spirit. Although the wedding was meant to be small, but the Adamus would never compromise on class. Everyone was at the Adamus family house when suddenly Prince called everyone to the living room. Prince was a child loved by all, but mostly his grandparents. Adamus' mom, Mrs. Amina, summoned everyone to the living room because her beloved grandson wants to speak to them. Nobody knew what he wanted to say, but they were all excited to hear it. Ogechi was worried that Prince was about to tell everyone what she had told him. But she took consolation in the fact that the Adamus trust her to a fault, as she has proven herself over the years. So nobody would believe the little boy. She had already prepared a defense. If Prince dares to spill the truth, she will tell everyone that Prince has been hallucinating since his mother died, but she has been trying to handle the situation on her own. Soon the whole family was seated. Prince stood at the center of the living room and beckoned on his uncle, Adamus' younger brother, to help him connect his tab to the big television screen. Everyone was too confused as to what Prince was up to. Kabaru, Adamus' brother, did as Prince had told him, and soon a video clip began to play. It was a video from the day Ogechi confessed to Prince. Unknown to her, Prince hid his tablet behind a vase before he went to confront Ogechi. He only wanted to show his father that Ogechi maltreats him when he is not around. Unknown to him, that a bigger revelation will come to light that fateful day. The whole family was shocked beyond words. Adamus felt as though the ground beneath his feet was removed. Ogechi wanted to run away, but she was quickly apprehended by Kabaru. The family called the cops on Ogechi, and the police took her away in handcuffs. Ogechi had no words to say in her defense. The confession in the video clip gave her away. The Adamus felt as though they betrayed Ophir by allowing Ogechi into their lives. Adamus apologized to Prince for being blind to who Ogechi really was, and his wife had to pay with her life. Adamus went with Prince to visit Ophir's grave to drop some flowers. Ophir, I am so sorry. I don't know what to say. I feel I betrayed your love and trust. Please forgive me, Adamus said in tears as he stood over Ophir's grave. 3 months later, Ogechi was convicted of murder and sentenced to death by hanging. Adamus never remarried again. He focused on his business and raising his son, Prince. If you enjoyed the story, then I am certain that you will enjoy the next stories showing on the screen right now. Please click on the thumbnail and watch the next story. Please support me by liking this video, share with your family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next story. Bye.